Hello out there, my frightful little ghouls and goblins, and welcome back into the fog. I'm Taylor, your casual crypt keeper, and boy howdy do I got something for you today. There's something about an old hotel, isn't there? Walking through the halls and knowing how many lives have passed through, even for a moment, and knowing how many lives have never left. Today we're going to be checking into some of the most haunted hotels in the world, as this is the top 5 haunted hotels hiding demonic entities. Just make sure we hit our checkout time, or we may never leave. Have you ever stayed in any of these horrifying hotels? Are there any of them that you would love to take a visit to? Drop a line down below and let us know which of these you'll be asking your travel agent about. Let's waste no more time and let's dive on in. Number 5, the Stanley Hotel. The Stanley Hotel is as infamous as it is gorgeous. This scenic Colorado hotel isn't just famous for a picturesque view of the Rockies, it's also got quite a reputation for serving as the inspiration for fiction's most famous haunted hotel, the Overlook. Now, it didn't serve as the film set for the Stanley Kubrick film, but it was used for the limited TV series and of course inspired Stephen King's legendary horror novel. In 1974, King and his wife stayed at the hotel, visiting at a time when the hotel was preparing to close down for the season. King states that spending time in such a grandiose location, isolated from the rest of the world, away from other guests and signs of life, hearing this discordant, sad music playing in a giant empty dance hall ignited his imagination. He said he was fired up returning to his room 217, and upon pulling back the curtain to his clawfoot tub, imagined, what if somebody died there? And started writing The Shining that night. Now, since it's become known as the Overlook, the hotel has developed a real reputation for hauntings, even being dubbed the Disneyland for ghost hunters at one point. Paranormal enthusiasts come to check out everything staying at the Stanley, and the hotel itself encourages this behavior, offering guided tours. Some highlights include, obviously, room 217, the cursed room from the novel, and it's the most requested room in the hotel. Stories go that in the early 1900s, the head housekeeper was blasted through a floor after a gas leak caused an explosion, and they say that her spirit inhabits the room today, and guests report finding help from the afterlife. Luggage unpacked, lights being turned off, I gotta say, that is some room service. They say that almost every room and cranny of the Stanley is haunted in some way. Is it all just legend inspired by the novel, or is truth stranger than fiction? You'd have to book a trip up to the Stanley to find out. Take their Ghost Hunters package when you do, and tell them Top 5 Scary sent you. And if you're looking for more horror content and you just can't wait, you don't have to go anywhere off this page. Click through on Top 5 Scary because we have loads and loads of ghost videos for you to enjoy. Cryptids, aliens, scary stories, pretty much anything scary you can shake a stick at, we've got. So stay subscribed, stay scared, but stay watching this video because we got way more story left to go. Number 4, the Fairmont Banff. Our next entry is one of Canada's most famous haunted hotels, and you know me, I love a local haunt. That's a little pun for you. The gorgeous property is well known internationally, and not just for its stunning views, but apparently because the place is just top to bottom ghost central. Let's take a look at some of the more notable ones that are haunting the property. The most famous specter at the Fairmont is that of the Ghost Bride. That was a Tim Burton movie, wasn't it? Her story takes us back to the late 1920s, and allegedly it goes that a beautiful young bride was dressed in her gown, ready for the ceremony, when something caught her heel, causing her to slip and fall down the hotel stairs, careening downwards, tragically cutting her life short. Since then, hotel staff and guests alike have reported numerous sightings of a weird veiled figure moving up and down the stairs in a long ethereal white gown, or seeing her in the ballroom by herself, dancing alone, waiting for that first dance she never got. Aww. I dance with you, Ghost Bride. The bride is only one of many ghosts though. The Banff doesn't want to give out the room numbers to avoid any trouble, but allegedly a great number of the rooms in the hotel are cursed. One in question is allegedly the site of a brutal crime, and the story has been told and retold countless times over with details swapped around to make it scarier, but it says that a family was all found dead, and since then, guests have reported horrifying things like hearing screams in the middle of the night or finding handprints on the mirror. If you visit the floor the room is supposed to be on, this room will be closed down to keep guests out, although they say it's just for renovations. Go there, check it out, and then decide for yourself if that's all just a cover story. Number 3, the Crescent Hotel. If you're ever making your way through Arkansas, you simply have to stop off at the Crescent Hotel. It's been called the Grand Old Lady of the Ozarks due to its gorgeous gorgeous old Gothic design and wonderful mountaintop view. It's kind of a shame almost that such a pretty place has such a morbid, haunted history, but that seems to be a running theme with all these delightful old hotels. The more beautiful they are, the more haunted you are. Its problems began during its construction. A construction worker named Michael plunged to his death from the roof, fatally landing in room 218. Unsurprisingly, since then, that room is said to be haunted, with guests reporting bizarre noises being heard from inside. And this is far from the only cursed tale of this hotel though. Before it found a new life as a hotel, the Crescent was a alternative clinic of sorts, run by a charismatic charlatan by the name of Norman Baker, who claimed that the waters of the nearby springs were so refreshing and so restorative that they could cure any ailment you might have. This might surprise you, but this was not true, as Baker did not have even the most minute amount of medical training. He was just a con man with a winning smile and a bunch of $5 words. Patients would check in expecting to be cured for cancer. That was his main operation. He said it could cure cancer. And his cancer cure was just an injection of corn silk and water, which doesn't do anything. Baker would find himself arrested in 1949, but unfortunately for the victims of his scams, their souls wouldn't find peace just yet. All throughout the hotel, guests report ghostly figures, seeing floating orbs passing through the halls, hearing screams, laughters, and strange bumps in the night. One particularly notable ghost around the Crescent is named Theodora, who was once one of the nurses employed there. Well, nurses. They say she hates mess, and many guests report that they'll discover their belongings have been reorganized for them. I love hearing stories about these helpful ghosts that don't haunt you, they just pack up your stuff for you. Among the cutest stories of spirits, however, is reports of a ghost cat named Morris, who guests claim they can hear purring or feeling a warm sensation on their lap or leg. Oh, the little ghost kitty wants some scritches? I guess he ran out of 9 lives. Guess they're not quite enough. I hope there's some meow mix up in the afterlife. Number 2, the Langham. The Langham Hotel is one of the most famous hotels in England. It's gorgeous and renowned, and it's entertained all manner of famous guests over the many years of its service, and if you believe the rumors, might be entertaining them still if their spirits are still lingering onwards. Built in 1865, is it any wonder now that this hotel is a haunting ground for restless spirits? One of the more reported ghosts to come out of the Langham Hotel is that of a man decked out in Victorian evening wear, seemingly trapped inside room 333. He appears during October, unable to move on from his final resting spot. If you ask the locals, they'll tell you a story of how years and years past, a doctor and his new wife checked into the Langham for their honeymoon. No one seems to agree on what transpired or why this happened, but what's known is that something inside the doctor snapped, and he claimed the life of his new bride, and overcome with grief, took his own life as well, and since then has been unwilling or unable to leave. In 1973, a BBC journalist staying in the room woke up one night in October and claims he saw a fluorescent hovering ball of pure light above him in the room, which then materialized as this man in front of him. The man appeared in Victorian era attire, then pointed ominously at the reporter, who fled the room. Yeah, I would probably do the exact same thing, to be completely frank. It's very refreshing to hear someone act so rationally towards a ghost. Guests sometimes complain of this room feeling overwhelmingly hot or lights flickering on and off during the middle of the night. You know, classic poltergeist behavior. The Victorian doctor is far from the only ghost said to reside in the hotel. Alongside Napoleon III, a butler, and a man in a powdered wig are all repeat offenders. So if you head on up to the Langham, keep an eye out for those beloved guests. And number 1, Myrtles Plantation. Our final entry is Myrtles Plantation, said to be one of the most haunted buildings in the entire United States. It's home to many ghost stories and legends stemming from a violent, sordid, unpleasant past. The plantation was first built in 1796, where it traded hands several times between a number of wealthy families. Our first story of haunting comes from 1834, when it was owned by Clark Woodruff, a prestigious judge and, well, also a slave owner. Of his slaves, one was named Chloe, who was a particular target of Woodruff's unimaginable cruelty. She tried to protect herself by eavesdropping and learning what she could do to alter her behavior, but unfortunately this would just serve as a punishment, as when Woodruff learned she was eavesdropping on him, he had her ears cut off and then made her wear a green head wrap to not have to look at what he had done. He sounds like a really lovely guy. Legend states that to strike back, Chloe poisoned a cake the Woodruffs were going to eat at a party. And weirdly, there's some differing reports and versions of this story change the intent. Sometimes Chloe was looking to get rid of them, sometimes she just wanted to make them sick to teach them a lesson. Well, the dosage was lethal, and Mrs. Woodruff and the rest of the family, save for Mr. Woodruff, were all lethally poisoned. As a retaliation, Chloe was hanged on the property. Some believe that she still haunts the ground and that her ghost can be seen, still sporting that green head wrap. The next owners would not fare much better. The next owner was a wealthy family, the Winters. Mr. Winter was a teacher, and one day a stranger riding by came out and fired at Mr. Winter fatally, where he staggered up the stairs to breathe his last. Visitors say that you can still hear his forceful stomps up the stairs as he attempted to get help. The plantation harbors a dark history, but has remained a popular spot for ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts to go and stay the night to see what they can find. And that's about all she wrote, my ghouls and goblins. Thanks so much for watching, keep on creeping on, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.